Perfect. We're up and running. Well, welcome everyone to another Florida Rum Society virtual happy hour. This one is different than anyone we've done, which I'm really excited about. Rick Williams was kind enough with the Max's South Seas Hideaway crew to offer to give us a virtual visit to Max's up in Grand Rapids. So I know a lot of you were very fortunate enough to grab some of the little goodies that they sent us. I have mine in my drink already right here. My stir stick and my cocktail napkin are all ready. And I'll take a personal moment and say I'm extremely excited and honored that Martin Cate has also agreed to hang out with us for a while. So he is what really is the reason why we exist, is because I fell deep hard into tiki and rum because of his book. So I will stop fanboying. That's all I will do from that perspective. But I'm really excited. So I think I'm turning it over to Rick to get us kicked off, and we'll get started. So Rick, you want to take us away?
Yes, thank you, Jay. First question for everybody. How's the audio? Can you hear me okay?
You sound great, my friend.
Mark, say hello.
Am I looking over here, or am I looking there?
Look over there for now.
Hello.
Can everybody hear Mark okay?
Yes,
Yep.
Mark sounds great.
Okay. John will love this because we're playing with everything here to get it right. So we're opening with an image on our Max's South Seas Hideaway sign, and we're going to go live. Mark and I right now are upstairs in the second floor in an area that we like to call the boat bar. And here we are. Hello, everybody.
Aloha.
Just wanted to say hello. Those of you that don't know me, I'm Rick Williams. This is Mark Sellers. We're going to be introducing you to Martin in a second. And I have been that guy who's been on the back part of the Zoom, listening to you guys week after week. I'm more of a lurker, but I've really enjoyed listening to all the Florida Rum Society Zooms. And I wanted to thank Jay for helping us put this together. I just reached out to him and said, hey, we'd love to invite you guys virtually to Max's. And so that gave rise to the kits that many of you received. So you should all have a cocktail napkin, and you have one of these stirrers as well. And just a little inside baseball. I couldn't fit this into the envelope. So a little tin snip right here. And we'll avoid all the innuendo regarding about how big our swizzles are. But
We have the biggest swizzles of anyone.
I cut that off so it would fit into the envelope for you guys. And really what we were going for there is I would love nothing else to have all of you guys with us here in the bar enjoying a cocktail. And it would be on that napkin, and it would be with this swizzle. And right now, given the world we find ourselves in, it's not quite possible. Except, and we'll get to him later, we have one of your members who showed up from Indianapolis, and he is our studio audience right now. So he is in here with us. Florida Rum Society is represented in person. And so it's great to have you guys here. Like I said, again, I'd love nothing more than to have you all in the bar with us, and that will happen at some point. So this is what led to all of this. We're live. I also want to give one shout out to a good friend of mine named Gur Beefstein, who's a filmmaker here up in Michigan, and he's provided us with all the equipment that's made this possible, that's made this technically advanced Florida Rum Society Zoom possible. Thanks for that, Jay. And also, Jay, I wanted to point out, it's not lost on me that you have a Max's Swizzle inside of a smuggler's mug. Very nice.
It's a good combo.
I posted it 20 minutes ago and was wondering if anyone else would have caught it fast enough. But yeah, I figured you got to merge the two together.
I'm a detail guy, so I wouldn't miss that. And I hope you guys enjoy that cocktail. We'll get into it a little bit later, but that was done by Amanda, one of our managers. She took a bottle of the Florida Rum Society, which if we ignore all laws for a second, we do have a bend down bottle of it here, stashed at Max's. So we have a bottle of the Florida Rum Society blend, and I gave her that and asked her to come up with a cocktail for us. So that's enough from me. Let me hand it over to Mark Sellers, who's going to talk a bit about Max's South Seas Hideaway, and then we'll also bring Martin in a bit, who's the big draw, and we'll go from there. So look forward to talking to you guys more.
All right,
Mark.
Okay, well, this is going to be a lot of fun. I've got my Mai Tai here, about 3 sips in, so feeling okay. And just wanted to give you guys a little history of Max's and how it got started, how we got to where we are, and then we'll probably hand it over to Martin at that point, and he can talk about some stuff too. So in 2017, I was getting ready to open a bar called Tiki Cat in Kansas City. That was my first tiki bar, although I'd been to many in my life just as a visitor, but it was my first tiki bar, and I wasn't exactly confident in my ability to do it right the first time. And so I contacted Martin, who I had met through various channels, and asked him if he would be willing to consult. And he grilled me about the business idea, the whole concept. He wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be a crappy tiki bar that he was going to put his name on. And when he was satisfied after grilling me, he came on as a consultant, and he trained the bartenders, wrote the cocktail menu, and really is in some large part responsible for the success of Tiki Cat, which was highly rated, and it did pretty well. And so then I decided I'm going to do a second tiki bar, but this time I wanted to use my entire collection of artifacts that I had purchased in an auction or a sale in Los Angeles by a guy named Jordan Rychek, who had collected vintage stuff from old Kona Kai locations, old Trader Vic's, all the old tiki temples that are mostly now gone. He had this huge collection of artifacts, and it was finally time for him to part with them. And I was in a position at that time to be able to just call the gallery in Los Angeles and tell them I just want the whole thing. I called them, and the guy kind of jaw dropped, but I bought essentially the whole collection minus a few things that other people got. And the reason that I did that is I wanted to keep it together as one collection, and I wanted to show it publicly and make sure it didn't get dispersed throughout the United States and throughout the world into people's basements and never to be seen again. And this massive, beautiful, amazing, historic collection would kind of have gone away. And so my plan was to use that collection as the basis for opening a grand tiki temple like existed all over America in the 50s and 60s. And again, I called Martin and said, hey, man, let's do this. Let's partner on this one. Rather than you just being a consultant, let's partner. And I think it went well the first time with Tiki Cat. So Martin agreed, which was huge, of course. And we began working on finding a location. We looked for, I don't know, a year and a half, well over a year for a location. We looked in all over Los Angeles, Austin, Phoenix, Detroit, Chicago. None of the spots we looked at felt like it was the right spot, or we couldn't afford it because some of the real estate was just out of reach. And finally, an opportunity in my hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan, a big 12,000 square foot, 3-story building kind of fell into my lap in terms of being available at the right time, and I was in the right place. And so I convinced Martin, let's do it in Grand Rapids. And it was easy for me because I didn't have to travel anywhere. The real estate cost is obviously lower here than some of those other cities I mentioned. And we began work on it in May of 19. May of 19. It was a massive endeavor because this was an Irish sports bar nightclub before. And when you walk through the space now, you can't even tell it was ever that. But I wanted to make sure that there was no one ever walked into Max's and said, oh, this looks kind of like that old Irish sports bar. So I wanted to make sure we pretty much gutted the whole thing and just started over from scratch. But it's a beautiful historic building that was built in 1884. It's on the National Historic Register. The facade of the building is gorgeous, and it's got these gargoyles on top, which we put leis around their necks. And it's a cool spot. So anyway, we started work in May of 19, and we opened in October of 19. And we were doing really, really well for the first 4.5 months. Like sales were beyond our wildest expectations. We were getting good reviews. Everything was going well. Just some minor hiccups, which you get with any new restaurant. But in general, I think Martin and I were both pretty excited about how it was going. And then wham, shut down after 4.5 months from COVID. And we spent all of 2020 essentially trying to survive. and just my camera's gone off. I don't know if there's something.
Somebody else is sharing their Zoom or their screen.
Oh,
All right, so I don't know if I'm still on or not, but
we're viewing iPhone 40 screen. There we go.
okay, there we go.
I got that.
Yeah, so we shut down, and last year was really tough because of that. We got a PPP loan, which allowed us to make it through the year, and now we're back open. But of course, it's just a strange new world for restaurants, especially restaurants like ours, which the dine-in experience is everything. You know, we don't do much takeout business. It's all about the atmosphere and the experience and the camaraderie with the bartenders and watching them make the drinks. I mean, that's the whole Max's thing. But you know, we got named best restaurant in West Michigan at the end of 2020. Best new restaurant. Sorry, and hopefully this year we'll get best restaurant. I don't know, but I'm excited about the future, and I'm very happy to be on this call, and I'm really happy to be partners on this project with Martin, who has become a really trusted friend and confidant, and he stops me from doing a lot of stupid, crazy ideas that I have. I'm the crazy entrepreneur that just says, let's do it. And Martin always makes me take a step back and think through it before doing stuff. So we're a good team. Rick knows what I'm talking about. Rick's an owner too, but he just lets us do our thing and kind of stands back. I think it's a good team we have here. So
somebody's sharing their phone again.
Having a lot of fun with this, and hopefully you guys have fun tonight. What do you want me to?
Mark,
that's the history.
Brother, say hello. Where are you? Tell us about the West Coast, man. Tell me what the weather is out there. I'm dying to get out to Catalina.
Oh, it's overcast and gloomy, but we'll take every drop of rain we can get because we're in deep caca here in California. We need some rain really badly. But we're not going to get enough. So anyway, enough of that. Well, hi everybody. It's very lovely to see all of your faces here, and I recognize a few who I think are interlopers in the Florida Association, especially some who live in the East Bay. I see on this call, so I won't be fooled. But yes, great to see everyone, and great to talk about Max's. It's a real treat. Max's is. Am I supposed to be still talking, Rick, or have you moved along? Or
oh no, this is your show, brother. Get on. Nice shirt, by the way.
I didn't know I didn't get the agenda. Max's is exactly. Not to rehash everything Mark just said, but yeah, it was a great experience to consult on Tiki Cat, and we had a good time working together. And it was a great bar, and an absolute tragedy to lose it as part of a unpleasant. Being attached to another bar that couldn't get a deal with their landlord. So unfortunately, Tiki Cat is gone. It was very short-lived, but a lovely spot. But, Mark came back to me with this whole idea of really wanting to do the large scale again, do the grand size palace again. And that was what was so exciting, because I've been involved and operate several places that I would define as neighborhood spots that are really about throwing back to the kind of the heyday when there used to be a great tiki bar on almost every corner in every town. That was, just kind of part of the fabric of the landscape, that there would always be, every medium to large city had a couple of decent tiki bars. So all of my ambitions had previously been about building really great neighborhood places, really great compact experiences. But obviously, I don't have to tell the Florida Rum Society about the Mai Kai and places like Kahiki and places like even Tonga Room to some extent. All these places that we really loved, what was left of places that really celebrated the grand scale of what it was back in the heyday. And Mark really said, let's do something that really is about, in our wildest imaginations, in our fantasies, we still like to think that it's people will show up, in a jacket and tie, and it'll be a nice night out the way it would have been at Vic's or Don's. That it'll be a kind of that fancy meal. So he really wanted to make sure that we had a great food program at Max's, that it felt much more like a restaurant than a bar. But with I have this terrible feeling that the next thing I'm going to see is going to be a wee-wee. Every time that happens, it's giving me the cold spooky. But yeah, so he had this crazy idea, and as he said, we went all over hell looking at great places, looking at really cool cities and lots of dreams. And it is funny that we sort of ended up in, Eileen, what are you doing to me? All right.
Hey,
that we
Jay,
ended up
if you want to turn sharing off till later, go ahead.
No,
Okay.
I'm doing that.
That we ended up back in Grand Rapids. But yeah, while we were in the middle of this process, this remarkable collection of art came up, and you can read all about it in this book that Otto von Stroheim and Sven Kirsten wrote called The Art of Tiki, which really talks a lot about this collection and this exhibit at La Luz de Jesus Gallery in Los Angeles. And I heard about the auction coming up, and I heard that, and I got a catalog. I got a sneak peek on the catalog, and I couldn't believe the collection. It was just off the charts. This guy, Jordan, had been collecting all this spectacular art from all these wonderful artists like Milan Guanco and Andres Bumate, and all these artists who had really tragically, literally, he had dumpster dove to save this art because it was, as tastes changed, all this stuff was thrown away, and people forgot and didn't appreciate these artists and their incredible contributions over the year. And so I saw this, and one of the things that struck my eye, caught my eye, was the stop making wee jokes, everyone. One of the things that caught my eye was was a lot of the stuff from the Konakai, particularly these wonderful tiki carved sort of fence posts, and there are about 8 of them, and they're all strung together historically inside the bar. And I thought, man, I would hate to see those get separated. I really would love to make sure those stayed together, and that you could use them in a new bar, that you could actually build a classic railing, just like in the Luau and the Konakai and all these old places. So I called Mark. I said, you got to check out this auction. It's going to blow your mind. Check out those posts. We got to get those posts and keep them together. And he said, oh, cool, thanks. And he called me back, and he says, I got it. And I said, what do you mean you got it? I said, what do you mean it? He said, oh, I got it. I said, you got the post, you got them. He says, no, I got it. So what's it? He said, the show. I bought the whole show. So what was great was not only did we end up finding a place at the end of the day in Grand Rapids, and it is perfect building for the experience, but we were able to, on this scale, do something. And you'll see as Rick leads the walkthrough of the room and things, you'll see how it's all these, we were able to create multiple themed experiences within it. So yeah, while it's a full restaurant, we were able to create 3 fully distinct bars within the space that allow you to have these. There's a more nautically focused one, there's the mid-century modern focused one, there's a very traditionally focused one. And all these different experiences allow not just for you to have a different experience when you go, but just it's great for repeat visits, because you can choose a different seating area, have a completely different experience each time. And for me, one of the things that I wanted to do, I've always wanted to do, and finally got to do in this space, is to adopt what had been a tradition started by Don the Beachcomber and carried on through Steve Crane, carried on through many locations, was to actually do the drinks in the back and actually have service bars. Those of you in the Florida Rum Society know well how all the drinks at the Maikai are prepared in the back room, out of sight of anyone. In fact, the wonderful, beautiful bar of the Molokai inside the Maikai it looks like a normal bar, but there's nothing there. There's no bottles, there's no glasses, there's nothing actually there, and everything comes out the back. One of Steve Crane's feelings about this experience was that when you come in to have this guest experience, you should be in a relaxed state. He wanted you to forget about outside. He wanted it to be a transformative experience. He wanted it to feel like you were somewhere else, where it's always twilight, it's always dusk, it's always the cocktail hour. And he thought, I don't want people to see a bunch of sweating bartenders working their tails off making 13 ingredient drinks at breakneck speed, because he wanted it to feel more relaxing in the space. So that was kind of the magic. Not only was the secrecy of the drinks a big part of the equation, but a part of it was just the guest experience. At a Don the Beachcomber, you might have a bartender up front making martinis and Manhattans and things like that, but all the rum rhapsodies that came out of the back just appeared magically out of the back. So just as they do at the Maikai, you will see if you stick your head at the Molokai, there's just a little window, and this little hand comes out every so often and drinks in it. That's all you see is the hand. So on 2 floors at Max's, we have drink kitchens in the back with multiple wells on multiple wells, so that all these drinks are being, because if you're seated at a restaurant, you can't see the bar anyway. In many cases, you're tucked into a little nook or a little cranny or a cozy hut. And that way we can actually shoot these things out. They go straight into the back kitchens. We designed these stations for speed and efficiency, just like they do at the Maikai, where everything is basically not built for a guest. It's built for the bartender to have everything within arm's reach. They don't actually have to pick up their feet. They only have to swivel at the waist like a G.I. Joe figure. That's as much as you have to do. Grab the glass here, come back, that kind of stuff. So that was one of my favorite things to be able to implement and execute at Max's, is this service bar experience. So I think I've prattled on along enough. Maybe I'll send it back to Rick, and you guys can. It looks like something's on fire on the bar with Rick there. So you guys,
we have the poo-poo platter.
Oh,
I mean, you can't go wrong with a little fire on Zoom, right, Martin?
Nice.
Maybe we should move it though, so I don't catch on fire standing.
we just figured, hey, you guys are talking, we're gonna eat. Martin did such a good job with that. I'll tell you, one thing that I love about Max's is everyone's familiar with the concept of an old soul, right? This is an old soul bar, and that's not me tooting its horn. But if you think about what it's been built out of, there's all this built up history in every one of the unique carvings and items in the bar. And so in a lot of ways, it was born old. And that's one of the things that I've really loved about it. We've got some mugs on the table. One of the surprises that Jay has for you. And in the mailing, we sent you all a ticket. We're going to give away one of our tiki mugs. One that has been built here in our bar. And Mark will probably talk about that a little bit, about the ceramic studio and the history of it. And then we're going to get into the tour. So, Mark,
let's talk about the ceramic studio. So I'm taking my thing out of my ear because I can hear feedback when I talk myself. So there, much better. So we, Martin and I, came up with this crazy idea to actually, because there's problems with ordering. Every tiki bar has mugs, right? But there's problems right now industry-wide trying to get the mugs in a timely manner. Sometimes it takes almost a year, 9 months to a year, ordering in advance in order to get the mugs, and that's because the few mug makers are out there that can do any sort of size, like 500 or something, are backed up, completely backed up. So Ecom Bookem and Tiki Farm and those guys do a great job, but it takes a long time to get the mugs. And we kind of wanted to experiment by just creating our own ceramic studio and see how it went for a while. And
I've got 2 photos, by the way.
Okay, yeah. And if it didn't go well, then we would just go back to what most places do, and that's ordering from another manufacturer. But I went out and found somebody in Grand Rapids who had been teaching ceramics for years and had been doing ceramics for years. He had never done tiki before, because in Grand Rapids, Michigan, you just don't find tiki mug artists. But we did find a great ceramic artist named Jerry Berta, and I taught him, because I have a large tiki mug collection. I taught him, or I'm still in the process of just kind of giving him pointers on what does that kind of designs work for the tiki mug world. And so for the last 18 months, we've been making our own tiki mugs, and we've gotten better and better at it, and I think we're pretty good at it now. Obviously, I highly respect artists out there like Crazy Al and Van Tiki, and even Ecom Bookem is amazing. And we're not really at that level yet, in my opinion, but we do pretty well with our ceramic studio on a very small basis. So we can pump out a couple hundred mugs a month at most, and we have a staff of 5 people. It's right next door to Max's, so it's essentially our in-house ceramic studio, but it's in the building next door. This is it. Awesome. That's one small part of it. It's bigger than that, but. So yeah, this is one that we made in-house, and Here's another one that we made.
Hold that up again. Mike.
Yeah, what's that one?
Hold the other one up again.
So both of these we designed ourselves, actually, based on artifacts that are inside Max's. We just made a mug to replicate artifacts that are on our walls and in the restaurant.
Do you guys do you create?
But how about we do the walkthrough real quick? Unless someone's got a burning question that's just so amazing that we got to get to it.
No, I don't have one. So keep moving.
So what I'm going to do is, so right now, and this has a lot to do with COVID and the ways that we operate right now. The first floor of our bar is occupied. So we have diners downstairs in the bar, in the tables, eating and drinking, and enjoying themselves.
And we're full.
We're full.
Great.
Yeah, we're full. And we have a 3D walkthrough that Max shared with you on that letter that went to all of you. And by the way, some of you did not get the bumper stickers. So the story behind that is I was putting that mailing together, got everybody the swizzle, got everybody the napkin, got all the letters from Max, and I had one blister pack of those bumper stickers in my basement, and those were given to me by one of our first bartenders before we opened. So those are our original Max's memorabilia. And in addition to the...
But you only had 25 of them, right?
Right, which I only had 25 of. And the swizzle collectors are going to start looking and realize that there is a short version of this swizzle. It was created specifically with a pair of tin snips for this Zoom. So,
yeah, when I ordered these swizzle sticks, everybody orders swizzle sticks from Royer Corporation. And there's a lead time to them, and we had to order them way in advance. And among the million other things that I was trying to do while opening Max's, one of them was I had to order swizzle sticks, and I wanted them to make sure they were big enough to fit in the bottom of a tall glass. So I told them I wanted them to be, I don't know, 8 inches or something, and it turns out I ordered them way too big. They're huge, they're massive, but they're cool, but they're just really big. So
you guys have the shortened version.
Well, so we can sell the short version on like eBay or something.
They're
right?
collector's items now related to this, as are the bumper stickers. Edition. And not that I want to do this to Jay, but I sent him a few extra ones. Oh, so if you are in the inside of the Florida Rum Society, I mean the inner circle, and somehow through the randomness and it literally was one night I was going this one, this one, this one, putting stickers in. If you didn't get one, Jay has some extras. So you have to be nice to Jay. When you're down at boat drinks, say loving things to him.
I already had one person ask, and I sent them one. So, we got it. We'll see. Well, you guys can bribe me.
Some things for you down the line there, Jay. I also sent out 3 of our passports. Jay got one. Gilla got one. And I'd also say you have one member who is from Maine. And I don't know if she's on this Zoom or not, but she lives about 15 miles from a town that one of the soldiers that served with me in the Army was from. So when I saw her address, I was like, well, you're getting a passport. So she got a passport as well. And there's a passport in Maine now and 2 down in Florida. And we can get to that later. But if you guys are good with it, we're going to share that virtual walkthrough that we shared with you before. It's going to start right here. And we're going to walk through it with you. And Mark's going to cover a couple of the artifacts, just a touch of it, because when we have you guys up here in person, we're going to take you deep into it. And after that, we'll do some Q&A, hit Martin up with some questions, hit Mark up with some questions, and go from there. So Jay, if you got sharing, and you can turn it on for me, yeah. I'm going to step aside here, and I'm going to get that thing up.
All right, you should be good now.
Okay, it's full screen for me. I'm going to share the screen. And can you guys see the boat bar?
Yep, looks great.
If you imagined it, Mark and I are standing like right about here. And he's looking over my shoulder. I'm going to turn this around. Martin, is there anything in general you want to say about the boat bar, the build, the builders, anything like that?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short because I can give a 3-hour tour or I can give a 3-minute tour. I'll do something in between that, like maybe 10 minutes. But that's a 500-gallon. Should I look over here? Or should I look over here?
Yeah, you can look over here.
Over here, okay.
Wherever you like.
That's a 500-gallon fish tank. We had to bring it in on a crane, basically through the side window because it couldn't fit up the stairs. and it's got a lot of tropical fish, saltwater tank. The boat bar, the bar that we're standing inside right now, we call it the boat bar because it's shaped like the front of a boat, and it was built by a local guy, local woodworker in Grand Rapids, who's done some other bars for me at other restaurants that I've owned. And I actually got the idea for that from a place. I was on vacation in Paris, France, about, I don't know, 6 years ago, and I went to this really cool out of the way bar that the bar was an old ship, and so I just got the idea from that and decided to recreate it here. And we made the whole second floor kind of a mix of nautical elements and Papua New Guinea elements. You can see these posts here that are outside of the booths at the entrance to each booth. Most of those are from various Trader Vic's locations, like the Trader Vic's Detroit, Trader Vic's Osaka, Japan, Trader Vic's Palmer House in Chicago. This area back here that Rick is showing right now, we call that Notch's Nook. And the reason we call it that is because Notch Gonzalez, a California builder, designer, is the one who did the design work on the second floor. On the first floor was Bamboo Ben from Los Angeles, but second.
Are you guys ready for a big Easter egg?
Yeah.
Rick's Rum Locker is hidden right about here.
Yeah, with a lock on it. Does anybody have the key?
No,
I've
they
never
lost the
opened
key.
that. Yeah,
They
I've never
lost the
opened it.
key.
It's been sitting there for a year and a half. Yeah, so Notch gets a lot of the credit, most of the credit for the second floor design. I had kind of the idea to do nautical, but he's the one that put it all together and made it look like it was an old bar, but everything's new. I mean, the wood's new. He distressed it and stained it and made it look old, and he's just really good at what he does. So these are private dining rooms that we have.
It's like a captain's galley.
Call it the captain's quarters.
Yeah, those really.
There's a really cool artifact if you go to the stairwell.
Got it. I'm on my way.
So there you
John?
see this big bird on the wall. That is from the Konakai Philadelphia. Konakai Philadelphia was around from 55 to, I think, 82, and it was torn down. And there was this eccentric guy that happened to be a tiki artifact collector at a time when really almost nobody was. And he bribed the foreman who was doing the demolition of the Konakai $100 to be able to haul the stuff away rather than them throwing it away or destroying it. And this is one of the artifacts that he got that day, among others. And quite a few of them are actually inside Max's. We've got a bunch of Konakai Philadelphia artifacts, but that's obviously the grandest one there, that South Seas frigate bird. And that's what can you focus back on the bird? And that's what we decided, that's what we based this mug on. So
And a second mark on it. That will show it later.
this mug. Yeah, so anyway, let's go to the entrance of the building. So the main doors to walk in are right there. So this is the lobby. This is where you first enter Max's. And we've got some of the coolest artifacts in the collection in the lobby because I wanted people to have a wow moment as soon as they walked in. So we've got 4 different, like 7-8 foot tall Marquesan tiki carvings, all of which are from old Trader Vic's locations that are no longer around. So this is the 3rd one here, and then the 4th one is in the other corner. And then we've got some tall, I think they're 8 or 9 feet tall Whitco posts that are on the entrance wall. And then these black tikis on the wall are carvings from Andres Bumate. They were for an apartment complex in Playa del Rey, California. That was remodeled. I think the apartment complex is still there, but it's not a tiki theme anymore. And so they literally were throwing those out. And some people dumpster dove and pulled them out of there. And in the Reichert collection that I bought, there were over 100 of these black carved tikis, all of which were different, but almost all of them were from Andres Bumate. So we've got them all over Max's, and it's a cool story. Yeah, it's a little dark here, unfortunately. Here's a card right there is a carving of Pele. Sorry, it's so dark. but that is done by a guy named Guy Wilson, who's in the state of Washington. He also did a giant carving behind that, right back here. That big one back there is the same guy, Guy Wilson, who did them. He did them about 30 years apart, though. The tall one in the back is made out of redwood.
We've done a mug out of the one right in front here.
We did it, yeah. Actually, Danielle Mann from Australia did a mug. Here we have a big fountain or tiki waterfall, tiki water feature. Probably if you go back a little, you can see it better. A guy in the Detroit area who does fountains for churches and schools and public buildings. I contacted him. I found him on Google, and I contacted him and said, hey, I got this tiki bar and I want a big tiki fountain. He's like, I've never done a tiki fountain before. And I sent him images, and I sent him some, I sent him some concrete tiki statues that I had in my collection, and he incorporated them into the water feature. Unfortunately, the water feature started to leak after about 6 months, and so we had to turn off the water because we tried to fix it and we couldn't figure out where the leak was, and we were shut down because of COVID. We didn't want to spend the money to take it all out. So basically there's no water right now, but it's still lit up and it's still really cool, and people get their picture taken in front of it all the time. On the wall, the far wall over here, we have 30 tiki poles carved by Gecko, who is one of the owners of Max's. And I bought a lot of mugs from him over the years and other stuff, and we've kind of become friends, and Martin, I know, knows him very well also. So we asked him if he wanted to be a part owner and help us, decorate the place. And he carved these tiki poles, which are all different. They're from a warehouse in Honolulu that was torn down called the Ward Warehouse. That was used as a community center, educational place for the kids of the community. And when they tore it down, he got a lot of the beams and then carved them and sent them to us. These jade tiles that we have everywhere. There's kind of an interesting story about it. There was a couple in Florida that owned some Chinese restaurants, and they had them shipped over from Shanghai Shanghai in the 1950s, and then they never put them in their restaurants. They sat in storage for 40 some years, 50 years, and then the couple got divorced when they were much older. And the wife sold them to an antique dealer in Florida, and I bought 500 of those tiles. We only used a couple hundred in Max's, so I've still got a lot of those Chinese tiles, but they're pretty cool. There's the main bar, what we call the main bar. It's got an A-frame, and that was built by the same guy who built the boat bar upstairs. So you can see we have different environments. We've got the nautical environment upstairs. Here we've got more the mid-century modern kind of vibe in the main bar. And then we've got these huts. And this whole area here was designed by Bamboo Ben, and he likes to build these private huts in his places. Tiki Cat, who Bamboo Ben also designed that, had huts as well. So we have lounge furniture, mid-century modern lounge furniture that I bought at various dealers and stores that specialize in that kind of stuff. And we got a lot of carvings and artworks. There's a shag piece right there.
Shriner's painting.
Shriner, yep. Yep. And so I don't know, I could spend a lot of time going over all the artwork. I'm trying to just highlight the biggest stuff.
The Atomic, and then we'll go over to the mugs.
Let's do that. Yeah, we'll go to the Atomic.
This is my favorite bar that we're walking up to.
And they all have the link, right? So they can kind of look at it closer on their own. So
Rick,
this is the Atomic Lounge. I named it that just because that was a 60s kind of term for the design design elements at that time, and I wanted it to look like I had the idea for the look of this place from a picture in the Book of Tiki on page 25, a place called the Harris Imperial Luau in Pompano Beach, Florida. And that was a tiki temple back in the 50s and 60s, and it's gone now, but I looked at pictures of it, and I kind of tried to take the design elements from that. And I also wanted a room that my Whitco collection would fit and seem like it fit right in. So everything on the walls here, for the most part, is Whitco. Some of it is Pleasant Whitco, which is the founder of Whitco's grandson-in-law, Ken Pleasant. But most of it is vintage original Whitco.
See the mugs?
Yeah, let's go to the mug.
So Rick, can I ask a question?
So this is my tiki mug collection.
Hang on a second. Question from Jay.
Okay.
Jay, what's the question, bro?
I'm excited to see this, but so the bars, right? Martin was talking about how the drinks are mixed backstage. So is no bartender at all those bars?
No,
No,
so
it's
we
both.
have. Well, I'll let Martin can answer that.
It's both, because we want to make sure, I still believe that bartenders still create good energy. I don't totally agree with Steve Crane about the sweating franticness. So we wanted to make sure that, and if you're seated at a bar, if you want to sit at a bar stool, there's definitely bartenders out in front, public, working. So it's actually, there's a total of 11 stations so on a peak night on a Saturday, we can have 11 bartenders working. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up front, 7 up front and 4 in the back.
Got it. That makes sense.
Jay, you still have bartenders curating the experience, but in a lot of ways, it's like the original tiki. We have drink kitchens that are providing the drinks for a lot of the dining areas.
No, I actually think that that's a great balance of the people sitting at the tables who aren't sitting at the bar, right? They aren't going to see what's happening anyways. So the back bar, if you will, focuses on them. And then the people that, like myself, who love sitting at the bar to talk to the bartender about what kind of rum are you putting in that, et cetera, right? They can still get that experience too.
100%.
I think that's great. All right, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. Here's a fraction of Mark's collections.
Yeah, this was all in my house until we opened Max's, and my wife was pretty happy that we opened Max's for that reason. It kind of had taken over my house, but this is my favorite of my collection, my favorite 500 mugs. And yeah, I could spend an hour just talking about the mugs. I love these mugs, but I can see them anytime I want. You guys can actually get pretty close-up view on that on the walkthrough if you want to spend more time looking at the mugs here.
Can you pick up?
Then we've got the four 8-person booths right behind it, on the opposite wall, and each one has a different theme. So this is the shag booth right here, so it's all shag artwork. And we've got a Papua New Guinea one. We've got a Doug Horn booth. I like his artwork. And we've got so the Doug Horn is the next one. And then the corner one is Muki Sato, a Japanese artist who I'm a big fan of, and he's got a really interesting look to his artwork. So I wanted each booth to have a different vibe. I don't know. That's kind of that's the 10,000 foot tour.
I'm going to run you guys back up to the boat bar, so you're here with us. And I love that bird. Gecko, who did has got a version of that too that he's done, and he was nice enough to do a special mug for us. But I love that bird. He actually has a Twitter account, and I don't know who's doing it, but there is a Konakai bird Twitter account.
That's funny. So these carvings right here were all done by different artists. Most of them are U.S. and current artists. A couple of these Tiki Poles are vintage, but most of them are carved by current artists. And here we are back home.
I'm going to bring you guys back to our view here.
Switch to this camera.
Yeah, I'm switching over. I got the filmmaker saying, no, switch to this shot. Here we are.
So do we
Wait a minute. I'm going to stop screen sharing here so you can see us. So that was the big tour. Does anybody have any questions for Mark or Martin? And by the way, it's great to be with you guys, and it's great to have you here.
There's one thing I want to say.
Oh, yeah.
I try to always say this when I give this tour to people, especially people from Florida, and that is that I've been to the Mai Kai several times, and so has everybody probably on this Zoom call. And I've had people ask me, do you think that were you trying to copy the Mai Kai? And my answer is always, there's no possible way to ever copy the Mai Kai. We have an amazing collection here, but this is nothing like the Mai Kai is, nothing will ever compare to that place. It's insanely beautiful, and that's the gold standard by which everyone else is judged. So we're just hoping to try to live up to that standard in some way.
I saw Kern on the RSVP list too. So if you're listening, I just want to let you know we've been making a lot of Black Magics back at the Williams house, thinking about you guys and thinking about everything that's going on down there. And Mark's right. It's the ultimate tiki temple.
Yeah.
The I agree with everything you said, and they did an event. I was fortunate enough they did a tiki marketplace last weekend on Saturday, and it was very well attended. I mean, it was a billion degrees out there in the parking lot, but it was great. They had some of the fire dancers. I know a few other people were able to stop by, but the roof was also tarped. So fingers crossed that they get back, because you know how important it is to all of us.
Yeah, of course.
I'll echo all the comments. Like, you probably didn't have time to read the chat, but everyone is saying how amazing everything is, which I will say for sure. But I know Jared raised his hand, Jared Nelson. So if you want to ask a question, go for it.
I hear my voice twice.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Mark. I was lucky enough to visit Max's when I lived in Chicago before I moved to Florida. Actually drove up for the opening weekend back in October 2019. Walked up to you, shook your hand. I think you were amazed that somebody would drive up from Chicago for a tiki bar, but that was me. But my question.
Well, I was at that time because it was opening weekend, but now we see it all the time, the time. We get people from Chicago, Indianapolis. We've had people from Australia. I mean, it's really cool. Those are the most fun customers to talk to, because they really made an effort to come to Max's, you know.
Yeah, but my question was disappointed I never got to visit Tiki Cat in Kansas City. Wondering if you have any plans for, you know, what was left from Tiki Cat after that closed.
Yeah, well, that's a sad story. I'm going to take my thing out because I'm getting feedback. So the bank foreclosed on me, basically, after COVID. Because we were shut down, we couldn't pay the bank loan, and it's gone. They took everything. I have a bunch of the artifacts from there in storage, but I don't own the name Tiki Cat anymore, and I don't think it'll ever reopen. It's sad, sucks. So Max's is my whole focus right now.
Sorry to hear that, but Max's is great, and everybody should take a special trip up there to visit.
Someone asked if you can reserve a specific booth when you make reservations, like the specific artwork booth.
Yeah, you can. You just put it in the comments, or you can. Also, our email address is on there. You can send us an email, and we'll put you in a specific place.
Awesome. Who else has a question?
I've got a comment. I'm just so I'm opening my second liquor store. It's been open about 3 weeks, and we're about to put a bar in. I have a lot of different elements I want, and I'm just, you know, staying up late at night trying to figure out what the hell to do. How long did it take to put that whole thing together? Because it's absolutely beautiful.
People don't believe it, but it took us 5 months. But it was it was my 22nd bar, I think. Only my second tiki bar, but I had opened many bars before, and so had Martin. And so we already had like a Rolodex of, you know, people to work on it, and construction people that we had used before. And so it was the only difference was the design, but the bones of it were pretty much the same as other bars, right? In terms of the plumbing and the electrical and the HVAC. And since I already had done that many times before, that went really quick because we knew exactly what to do. And then the design part of it was the trickiest, because we wanted to do something that there was no way you could hire a professional interior designer to do, because no one specializes in tiki bars. And I wasn't going to hire some designer that had never done a tiki bar before. I would never do that. So I hired Bamboo Ben, and then it was such a big project that we decided to use two separate designers, one for the first floor and one for the second. But yeah, it was 5 months. But you know, you look at the stuff on the walls and the artifacts, that stuff was already in my collection, so I didn't have to go out and procure it. all the artwork already was in the warehouse waiting to be put on the walls. So that sped up the process a lot.
Someone asked about buying mugs. Do you
Did,
guys sell them online?
having done a tiki bar once, I'm sure that it probably was easier the second time around. Like,
Yeah.
I guess probably having made certain mistakes. I don't know. I'm trying to design a bar that's like a fantastic place to work behind the bar, because I felt like every bar I ever worked behind was always designed by somebody who had never worked behind a bar. So
That is true. I've started bars like that, where we realized after we open, oops, we designed the back bar in a really stupid way. So, but Martin took care of that. He handled all that, and I couldn't have done it as well without him. So,
Jay,
Well,
I
you
saw
know, I
a
had-
question
I-
about buying mugs. There are mugs available on our website, and as the studio does mugs, they get posted on there. But, we should probably cover that ticket that you guys got in your mailing. Talk to Mark. We wanted to do something cool. So we have one of the Konakai Birds mugs here from our studio, and that's what the ticket was for. And you have to be on the Zoom to get it. So I hope everybody showed up. I have one of our custom Tiki Bowls here that I've mixed that up in. And we could do two things. We could let Mark pick it, or if you guys want to hate him real bad, we can let your Florida Rum Society member from Indianapolis
let's let him take it.
Jay repeated to me several times, by the way, you're going to draw my number, right?
Yeah.
Come on over.
Is that okay?
Pick the ticket.
Yeah, he's accepting it.
Joel, pick
Cannot pick yourself, though.
Why don't we have
There's no names on them, so I wouldn't know.
No, it's blind, so you don't know what ticket you're picking.
Are we ready now?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
you're on. You're live.
Well, morning.
America's watching.
He's mixing them up, looking for his own ticket.
No, I knew left. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so this is what he drew. Love him or hate him. The first number's 5. It's 95244. Anybody on with that one? 595244. We're listening. We're gonna make you show it. If you don't have it, we're gonna pick somebody else. Oh, Jim, off by 3. Anybody? Going
Time's
once.
up. Next pick.
Next pick.
So it's like, that's not me.
Right.
Let's
You wanna
go.
pick
Let's
from
go.
over there? You can just do it right here.
Here, pick another one for us.
I'm in Tampa.
All right,
I'm working in Tampa.
all right.
Someone's gonna hate themselves. Oh, I don't have these written down. So
The
I don't
funny
know who's
thing is, the funny thing is, Rick, that I mean, I know you guys are some of the call-ins, but we had 50 people we sent
Thanks,
stuff to, and there's 50 people on the call, so it's like 3 that aren't here.
They're fumbling for that mute button, right?
Yep.
This one's 595207.
You're never gonna believe it.
No. No.
Who?
Oh my
Rick,
gosh.
no
Rick,
way.
the fix is in.
No way.
Hey, you're kidding me.
I'm not sure, dude. I feel like I should let you do
Malarkey.
that. That
Oh.
feels too wrong.
Everybody's gonna punch you at boat drinks next month.
All right, what do you get this?
I won't punch him if he's buying my drinks.
Jay, since it was you, I will lovingly pack this in my suitcase because I'm going to be down with you guys at boat drinks next month. So I'll hand it to you at boat drinks. That's something else. Oh my gosh, I'm not kidding you guys. Jay messaged me like 6 times. Make sure to pick our ticket, right? Pick my ticket, right? So amazing.
Which you didn't do. It's just the other person wasn't here.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
We have to find out. You should post it, Jay. I'll send you a picture of it. We'll have to find out who 595244 is.
We should post it and say, you didn't show up. You took the
This
swag.
is what
and
you
didn't
get for
show
not
up."
being there. Hey,
No,
we
that's-
So I wanted to.
Oh, was it?
This is a rum society thing. Shouldn't we have people ask questions about rum and
Yeah.
Martin?
Wait,
We got him on the call.
before we open up
we've
to
got
the-
Martin. He was on a Clarin tasting for us a little while back and did it like a champ. But he's here to answer questions about rum. And I'm also looking forward to the time that we guys can have you up here and we can share some rum together. When the FRS comes here as a group, we're going to break out a nice bottle for you.
We usually talk about like going to Jamaica or going to Barbados or going to Haiti but
Grand Rapids.
the chat's like, let's go to Grand Rapids. I'm like, heck
Yeah,
yeah.
why not?
At least we know we can travel there. Right now we can't get into those other countries.
Yeah. Make sure you come in the summer though. You're gonna get a rude awakening if you come in December. It's cold here.
Well, are we mixing the drink? Are we mixing the drink live? Or are people just enjoying it as they go?
What do you guys think of the drink? One of our new managers, Amanda, mixed that up for you. I snuck in this bottle, and we'll ignore all the laws for a second. But this bottle made its way up to Michigan, courtesy of a friend of all of yours, and
we
we
flash
gave it
the
to our
recipe?
bartenders and asked them to play with it.
I put the recipe in the chat, but I can throw it in there again.
Oh, I see.
I realized that I gave the ingredients and not the recipe. Unless someone wants to, can someone create it for us real quick, Rick, behind the bar or no?
Ooh, I think we can get
Am I
some.
asking too much?
Oh, here it is. Here it is. It's in. You got it, Jay. By the way, that's the first time I've seen 3 people in Twig's bar. And all the times I've watched the Zoom, you guys have a third person, and I just see that on the little preview. But
Yeah, I'm usually working, but I'm the son.
okay, the son.
He's about to be our Wisconsin member of the FRS. He just got a job up there.
I can tell you, all the out-of-state folks, one thing I did do before I randomized the stickers is I know that the out-of-state people don't get the rum samples. So, you guys still hear me? I lost the Zoom for a second. So
Hey, Jim,
out-of-state people,
you want to pour me a beer? There's no beer upstairs. I can just pour it myself. I don't mind.
Hey, Jay or someone, I lost the Zoom on my friend, so I lost my monitor. Can you still hear me? Can you give a thumbs up?
There's a lot of someone on mute.
Hey, Mark, if you're still on, your mic is still on, wherever you're wandering. Like, don't walk into the bathroom with your mic on right now, okay?
While you guys are talking here, I lost the Zoom, so I can't hear you guys talking. I'm going to get back in real quick.
Mark, whatever you do,
Technology.
don't confess to a crime, Mark.
Right, Mark still has his microphone with him. Is that the deal?
I think he wandered off looking for beer and he has his mic on. So I want to make sure he doesn't like say anything bad about Florida right now.
He's already ordered a beer during a rum talk.
Hey,
That's
Jay, I
pretty
lost
bad.
you guys.
That's a good
I can
point.
still
That's a
see
good
you, though,
point. I
and
think
you
he's
can probably
blown it
still hear
already.
me, so I'm going to dial back in my phone so I can hear you. So talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a subject.
That's how Robert
Nice.
Duke,
Deep cut, Rick.
got arrested. Mike.
Well,
Only no, because you have it muted.
well,
Hey,
So
I just
my speaker cut out.
Yeah, so did mine. We can see you guys still. I'm just getting back. We lost audio.
I hope it wasn't because I walked downstairs with this. That wouldn't do it.
Martin can take it up, do a dog and pony show, do a little magic trick, a little prestidigitation. Well, I get us back on Zoom here.
I'm drinking a Dr. Bird, so
Martin's doing his thing.
Michigan adjacent rum.
funny story about Dr. Bird, Martin, is that we've been trying for a year to get it distributed here in Florida and we're as close as we've ever been. But
You need another drink?
Yeah.
It's a great product, and they've been nice enough to offer all kinds of private bottlings, different variations. We did a private bottle of Dr. Bird for False Idol in San Diego. This is a private Dr. Bird for Bitters and Bottles, which is a wonderful spirits store here in South San Francisco. And this is a Madeira cask finish that they did. And someone's asking about that Plantation 2003, which I think is lovely, the MMW, I think. If I remember right, that's a really nice rum. I recommend getting your hands on that. The vermouth cask as well is great from this. I mean, I think Dr. Bird is a terrific value. They're really passing through, the guys at Two James are really passing through this terrific juice at a very reasonable price, which is, I think, is terrific. Their markup is very reasonable. And yeah, and you should fly in to go to Bitters and Bottles, but yes, also smugglers. Here's a secret. I haven't even told Here's something my wife's gonna yell at me. I haven't even told the people in the Bay Area this. So, and I know Tom and Terry are on here. So, but we just actually managed to convince my building manager to let me knock a wall down at Smuggler's Cove, and it let us open up another little basement storage area. So we're gonna have even more rum, which is very exciting. That's all.
That's awesome. So how big will it expand by?
We will be able to probably, I think we will reopen post-COVID with a full, if all goes well, we will have a full 1,000.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
but you guys aren't back open yet, or are you?
no, we're not. We don't have any, we don't have the ability to serve bona fide meals. So we are still shut down.
I see.
So I'm hoping the word we are getting is June 15th for California to resume some sense of normalcy. So that's what we're holding on for. So that's what we're strategizing. We just actually we're ending our cocktails to go this weekend, so we can spend the next couple of 6 to 8 weeks just fixing everything, because the place looks like a bomb hit it. So we had to tear everything apart to switch to. We have a chest freezer in the middle of the floor of the bar and stuff like that. So it's just it's going to take a lot of work to get it back open. So yeah, it's Max's is just it's just so it's such a struggle. Max's the heartbreaker is just that, as Mark said, things were going so well, and it just to with all this pre-opening debt that you're still carrying 4 months in to just get the hammer on it. So it's I got to say, the good people of Grand Rapids have been great. They've been supportive, and they've been we've been able to do off and on limited occupancy. Obviously Michigan's having a really tough go of it right now with case counts, but we're trying to just hang on as best we can. And it's I gotta say, it's just incredibly grateful for the support out there. It's just been terrific. So but yeah, and obviously our thoughts, as Rick said, and if Curran is here, we miss him so much. And yeah, our thoughts are very much, we spend a lot of time thinking about the Micah all the time. So it's we're very concerned. So, and no, you're not banned from talking about a gin bar. That's fine. So
people think I'm the non-rum police.
As I like to say, it's Whitechapel is I'm in a loving, long-term committed relationship with rum, and I'm having a kind of a late midlife fling with gin, and it's but I'll always come back to rum in the end. So
if you had to pick one to be stranded on an island with for the rest of your life, one rum, could you do it?
Oh, don't do that. Come on, Jay, you're better than that. Come on now. They're all my children, and I love them all. I love some more than others.
Let me ask you this. Do you think you'll ever open the Ray and Nephew 17?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think I would prefer to sell it whole to somebody who would make me an offer on it. I think I'd rather. I think I'm one of my concerns is, as lovely as it is to open and share these things, it's kind of scary, because if I open it and 3 people buy a shot, then I'm sitting on an open and oxidizing bottle of something very special. I kind of want to see it go in one. I don't want to do that. We did open. I did get a Ray and Nephew 20 year, the top of the range. There was a 12, a 15, a 17, and a 20 of what they called the liqueur rum range at that time in the 1940s. And the 20 was the top of the range, and I did get a 20, and we did open it. And so, needless to say, we made both neat pours, and we did Mai Tais with it. So I think we have a really good understanding of what to expect from the Ray and Nephew 17 based on the Ray and Nephew 20. So I don't think there's anything that's going to catch me off guard or surprise me about what it's going to taste like. So
is there a rum that we've tasted possibly that you could compare it to, or no, it's just way...
honestly, I got to tell you, it really doesn't. It's really interesting, because it isn't readily comparable to really anything on the market. And someone mentioned the Plantation. MMW Clarendon 17 year. That's way funkier, way more full bodied than the Ray and Nephew. Remember, Ray and Nephew has always produced rums, at least according to my time spent interviewing Joy. Ray and Nephew has always produced what has been called the common clean. Historically, they don't really use those terms anymore, but common clean level of esters, which is a pretty low ester count. It's not a funky rum. It's a really elegant rum. It's very refined. It's very delicate. It's not a very big monster. It's not like if you're used to drinking Hamptons these days or bigger Worthy Parks or anything like that. It's much more mellow. So you have all of these sort of variables that are kind of hard to exactly reproduce. So it's kind of imagine 100% pot still, lighter bodied, 100% tropically aged. We don't know what the oak was. That's kind of lost to time. We actually don't know what the barrels were. But I can tell you from drinking that 20 year, it's really just very kind of, it's very elegant. It's very mature. It's very,
send a picture to my wife.
But it's not a funk bomb. And that's not to say you can't make a great, like take some Dr. Bird or whatever. It's not to say you can't make a wonderful Mai Tai with a funkier rum. But when you drink a Mai Tai with it, it's very sort of refined and understated. It's not that it's not what, I don't know. I kind of think about it a lot the way people have gotten so excited about high ester rum now. I think about it the way people have gotten excited about quintuple IPAs or something like that, or it's people want bigger and bigger and bigger. And this was not a big rum. This was a really refined rum. They say liqueur rum on the label, and that it does not mean it's a liqueur. It's a very specific way of branding the rum to suggest that you should enjoy this after dinner the way you would a cognac or a scotch or any other fine brandy. This is like something to really be savored and elegant. It isn't just a big funk bomb. So
we made it back on.
But I'm still hoarding it. It's sitting in darkness in a climate controlled storage unit and with armed guards 24 hours a day, and
we made it back on, and we saw everybody was like, thank God Mark and Rick got cut off and Martin can talk now.
Martin kept saying, I hope they don't come back, because he was enjoying my barrage.
Do you have another earbud so he can hear?
But
No.
Rick,
Got any headphones?
They only come in pairs, but
Rick, before I kick it back to you, I think Mitchell has been waiting patiently to jump in with a question because he has his hand raised. So
No, I just realized that I had the 595-244 ticket. So
I don't know.
I do have a winning ticket.
Depending on what
that's
your
not the
upper
one in
body strength
Indianapolis.
is, I'm kind of curious to see maybe an arm wrestling match between you and Jay at boat drinks.
No, we'll just do a second mug.
Oh,
Do the right
I just
thing,
got it
Jay.
from Mark. We're going to do a second mug. So
Thank you, guys.
you both winners
Yeah.
there.
everyone's a winner.
Everyone's a winner.
Mitchell, send me Mitchell, shoot me a DM or an email at FloridaRumSociety@gmail.com when you get a chance. I'll shoot you a note.
Will do.
Thanks, bud.
We'll still let you guys arm wrestle over the two mugs I bring. to
It'll be
Florida,
fun
so.
no matter what. Winner gets a FRS sticker.
Make one a better glaze than the other one, and then make them fight for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm down there for like 14 hours. It'll be the best thing I see.
Or we can alligator wrestle for it.
Aaron, to answer Aaron's question about my next book, that will come out at some point when I'm 6 feet in the ground. God willing, I never have to do it again.
Is this like a bad question to ask? Is there plans for any other locations, or are we just going to wait till we get out of COVID and
Everything is everything is incredibly in flux right now, and very difficult to kind of read the landscape, particularly in San Francisco and everywhere else. But I think it's for most of my, basically for all of my venues, the nearest thing in our minds is rebuilding, and we're all carrying a lot of debt, and we all need to get our footing back. So I think we all went to we've all been struggling. Most of us, I can speak for, I think every single one of my bars has a really shitty landlord, and so we all have a lot of debt, and we're all just going to be working on just getting back on our feet. So I can't really make any plans beyond that. But Aaron, thank you for your comments about the book. I really appreciate it. But yeah, no, it's I hope that at some point, if our publisher is interested, we'll be able to do a revised and updated edition. But I just don't know. What's going to happen there. Fortunately, I will say one of the great saving graces. There are few, but one of the great saving graces of the pandemic is that has been that a lot of people are making drinks at home, and I can say that we actually had our best year ever on book sales 5 years after it came out. So
Wow.
But yes, oh, that's a good point. You do have manatees in Florida. They are charming. You've got a lot of Florida's got a lot of new tiki bars. There's good stuff happening down there. I keep reading about places coming up all the time. I will ignore
Suffering bastard.
I'm ignoring Felix's comment, but I think there's a lot of great bars coming.
Now you have me running to the comments so I can find.
What's that new place in the back of the Chinese restaurant? It looks really cool.
Are you talking about Tommy Tam's place?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's called the Secret Tiki Temple.
Right. Yeah, that place
Jacksonville. It's awesome. They've got we're going for the May the 4th party in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
We came
cool.
to our home bar and we had some drinks here at the aid station.
Two of our biggest regulars just were there about a week ago, weren't they, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Amy and her husband.
Yep. It looks amazing.
It really does look great.
Yeah, Tommy's doing a great job. He's a terrific guy. I think he used to live out there in California.
Mm-hmm. He did.
That's right. I think I remember talking to him about that. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yep.
And
Tommy came to our opening weekend, so he was in for the first 2 days that we were open.
Nice.
I should be moving my lips because Mark's off camera, but it brings the thing up, so I should just be like, oh.
I need to get Tommy to join the FRS. He needs to be a part of this group.
Yes. What are you waiting for?
No, we talked. He was here in this bar. He took away a bunch of samples of my rums, but I didn't make that I should have made that a condition of him taking the samples, that he signed the documents to join the FRS. He probably can't afford it. You know, you charge a pretty steep.
Have you been there?
The dues are not low. The dues are not low.
I want to go.
They're negotiable too, right? I mean, a couple of drinks for Jay, or
I give away stickers or membership for drinks.
All you got to
I
do is
heard
make sure that
FRS is a
he
giant pyramid scheme.
wins a mug, and then he's good to go.
A giant pyramid scheme? Yeah, that's what we are.
Well, we know a lot about that in Grand Rapids.
We do know about pyramid schemes here. I'll throw out something to you guys too. Mark can take this into consideration. If you guys really get rolling and everything like that, there's not out of the realm of possibility that we couldn't do an FRS tiki mug glaze for you guys.
Oh,
Well, we can, but we are so backed up on making mugs that we'd have to schedule that way in advance.
Of course.
But we could definitely do it. Yeah.
This is the long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you're thinking like our teal color that we use for everything, and maybe a few other things thrown in. If only we had an artist that could help us.
I think I'm in line for some mugs first.
Yeah, you are.
I will say that the drink is delicious, and it works really well in this mug.
Got the Danielle Mann mug up. Nice.
Well, I have a bunch of your mugs. Trust me, I've got all kinds. I've got I have our birds. I actually have two of them because I have the brown one too. This is this guy. And also, of course, we talked about the Ward. I love these things. You know, with these mugs designed after the gecko carvings these are awesome. I've been
slowly but surely doing one of those for every beam. So I've been getting the first out of the molds from them. So one day when I finally get to my home bar, I'm going to do a little miniature version of the Ward beam while you sound downstairs, but just with these mugs.
That'd be kind of cool to do ringed around a square mug. That'd be kind of fun to do facades. But this one's great too. You all got some great mugs. I had, yeah. So
That's that was sculpted by Jerry too, I believe. That one.
Is that a Bertiki?
One of the carvings.
Yeah, that's a Bertiki. So most of the mugs that we've released, we've hired other artists to do them, and not to manufacture them, but just to design them on paper. And like Doug Horn, we did one. Tom Laura, Big Toe, Danielle Mann. We've done Shag. We have a Shag mug coming out, and they send us something on paper, and then we put it in the computer on the 3D modeling. We then print it out on a 3D printer in resin, and then we make plaster molds from the resin model. And so we do all the manufacturing of them, but we usually hire an artist. But we have been doing more of our own designs in the past 6 months. And so both of these that we have on the bar top are our own designs. But I'm pretty picky because I have a really good mug collection, and I know what amazing, great artists are out there in the world. So we don't want to release something that's, subpar. So that's why we've been hiring artists to do most of our designs. But just recently, we've started doing more of our own designs.
Yeah, I like the fountain mug too. There's all of your mugs I have are
that's Carpenter.
I've been
Jerry
following.
Berta.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the guy that did the diner up in Rockford? Yes. I shot a film there.
Curb is people who knows people. So.
So
I'll give a shout out to the Mai Tai class as well. The art on this is beautiful.
Cool. That's a Anthony Carpenter design.
Was that Kern just a second ago?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
We need to get you guys some of our Mai Tai, Florida Rum Society Mai Tai glasses.
Those look good.
Oh, that's extremely cool.
Yeah.
And the zombie glasses.
And the zombie glasses. There you go. Jared's got a zombie glass.
Wow.
Nice.
I agree.
We'll take them. You want to send them? We'll take them.
Do we have a picture of Jerry Berta that you can show everyone?
If you give me a second, through the magic of the internet, I can probably make that happen.
I think that would be amazing. I think people need to meet the Rainbow Professor.
Give me a second. I'm working on it.
So Jerry, our designer, wears rainbow-colored eyeglasses, and he wears tie-dye a lot, and he's, I guess you could say a hippie, but he's trying to get more into tiki now, so now he's the tiki hippie.
I not only just found a picture of Jerry, I found a picture of Jerry with Gecko. So
there you
give me
go.
a second, I'll get it up here.
Okay, good. That's a good picture. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I wanted to get Gecko on tonight, but honestly, if you want to get Gecko on a Zoom, you have to talk to his wife, because Gecko is basically about rubbing sticks together and carving mugs when it comes to the tech. You might be able to get him to text you, and I love him to death, but getting him on a Zoom is almost a bridge too far.
Exactly right. I think that's one of the, there's some links that we should send out to these folks. I think about what Gecko explains about the Ward Warehouse, because I think it's really special.
Oh, it's amazing.
The Ward Warehouse was such an important part of the community, and all these generations of families have all these fond memories of growing up in the, going to family events, community events at the Ward Warehouse. And so there's a real kind of a special sense that he's taken that great lumber from that space, and sadly that it was torn down and really turned it into tikis with some sort of soul.
It's great. Yeah, it's just that this is a half-second delayed. So when I talk, I hear myself half-second later, and it's very hard to...
And they can hear you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, my mic's on all the time. So.
Okay, so I was just making a joke about Gecko, but I want to be clear. I love him like a brother, and I text him all the time, and I have a pile of his mugs in the basement because I love him to death. That's Gecko with Jerry Berta in our ceramic studio. And that's early on. That's when Gecko visited for the opening, right?
Mm-hmm. It's the only time he's been here.
Yeah.
Gecko hates to fly. And when he does fly, he will only fly first class. And we were over budget on this project. And I really wanted him to be here for the opening. And he's like, I would love to go. I really want to go. First of all, how cold is it in Michigan in October? And I'm like, it's probably in the 50s. And he just thought that was ridiculously cold. But had to get him a first class ticket, you know. But he was here for 4 days. Had a great time.
It was great to see him again. Yeah, I hadn't seen him in a long time. There you go. Yeah. Get those rainbow specks in there. Yeah, Jerry is amazing.
Good at wiring cats.
Jerry did a fun online demonstration talking about the ceramic studio, just the ceramic studio one time, because I saw it online. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a fun connection between some of us here in the Florida Rum Society. So I chat with Gecko all the time, and he did this. This is a piece of the Ward warehouse. This is a beam that he did. And this is number 3. And its brother lives with another Florida Rum Society member, Jose, has number 2.
Oh,
nice.
I think Jose and Jenna are on. They're like in Arizona or something, or Jenna is.
Yeah, I saw that they said they were on. That's kind of a fun connection. We didn't know it until we started comparing notes.
I don't know who's mixed up the drink, but it is very, very good.
It is good.
Let your,
Does he even know?
You guys can't hear me. We're off audio for a second, but I'm calling him right now. See if I can get him on the phone. I don't know if he knows I'm calling him or not.
Hey, Martin.
Hey.
Name? Does this?
This is my brother.
Martin, do you?
Aloha, man. I'm going to put you over on speaker for a second. Can you still hear me?
Hang on a second, Trader.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, give me, or Martin, either one, give me a thumbs up. Can you hear that? Okay.
Yeah.
So, brother, you're Mark and I are sitting in the upstairs right now.
In the boat bar.
In the boat bar. We got Martin on Zoom and about 50 people from the Florida Rum Society who love you to death as much as I do. And I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to try calling them real quick, and I'm actually holding you next to my mic. So just give out some love from your ohana to our brothers down in Florida and sisters. I know. You're driving down the street with some takeout food, right?
It's all good. I wish I had a couple of drinks in here over there. You guys. But yeah, right on. Hey, thanks for calling.
You bet, man.
So what are you sipping on?
We're just we're talking about Max's. We're having some drinks, having some food. I'm looking across the bar at the mug that looks just like you right now.
Ask him the story about Ward Warehouse.
And the reason we called you is we were just talking about the Ward Warehouse, and Mark was just saying, man, we got this, Gecko has this wonderful backstory about the warehouse, and I've seen pictures you sent me of your boy dancing there too before they took it down.
Right, yeah.
This
did that mug with Mark's face, it would have been a lot prettier.
Hey, we could do that. We'll talk to Jerry about that. But hey, brother, I just wanted to call you and tell you I love you like a brother, and so does Mark, and so does Martin, and I'm looking forward to seeing you sometime soon, brother.
Hey, I hope so too. Are you coming to Hawaii?
Oh, my wife is listening to this Zoom, and she's probably like, yes, let's go.
I'm going to Hawaii.
I'm coming there.
I told you he hates to fly.
About that.
No, I love my state while I was out there, bro. It's really cool to see new states. And yeah, it's a beautiful state. I have to, I had a good time.
Yeah, I'm going to let you go, but I want to tell you I love that rum that you sent to me. I've been enjoying it, and I'm looking sometime soon where I can give you a hug and a handshake, and we have some rum together.
Right on. Sounds good, bro. Right on. Thanks, guys. Hey, appreciate all you guys. Aloha, support, everything.
All right. See you,
Love
Mike.
you, man.
Okay. Love
See
you guys too.
See ya.
Nice.
What rum did he
So there
send?
you go. I got Gecko on.
What rum did he send?
Unbeknownst to him.
Unbeknownst to him.
Rick.
I lost our audio. Let's see if we can get back here. That's all me. You guys can probably still hear us, but we lost you. All this tech, man. Here we go. I'm gonna try one more time to join.
Wonder why that keeps happening.
Oh, it's something. Who knows? I'm gonna mute guys while you talk a bit, and then we'll get you back. We'll get back on here.
Martin, do the Smuggler's Cove mugs now get glazed or made at the Max's Glaze House? Did we lose Martin too?
Hang on.
Sorry. You stepped away.
Sorry, I went for a refill. I'm sorry.
No, that's an apologize. Are you making Smuggler's Cove mugs now at the Max's studio?
At Max's, not yet. We're still a little backlog, but I hope to at some point. I mean, I think Mark and I share a vision for the company. By the way, is called Idleworks, is our mug company. I think we share a vision for hopefully getting to a point where we can do small run, limited edition batches for all kinds of for bars and people. But right now, it's still kind of a question of getting the hang of the workflow and the staffing and everything else there. And yeah, it is a little bit backlogged right now, but hopefully, yeah. I mean, I think it's a natural fit. It was one of my Mark joked about how I push back on some of his crazy ideas, but when he said he wanted to do a ceramic studio, I thought it was a brilliant idea, because I mean, we know the Kahiki in Columbus, Ohio, at some point in the 1960s and 70s did their own ceramics in the basement, but otherwise it's very much a kind of a new thing, very, very rare to do in-house ceramics. And so I absolutely love the idea, and I want to just keep pushing forward with it to make sure we can not just take care of Max's first and foremost, but also try to take care of more clients as well. So it's definitely in the cards, and it's part of the plan moving forward.
What's the craziest idea that Mark has thrown out there?
Well, it's in the basement of Max's right now, and it's called Loretta's Deep Dish Pizza.
Yeah, I'm a Chicago guy. You gotta love
Good.
deep dish.
Well, let me tell you, this was. Where's Mark? Anyway, is he hiding?
We got back on just in time to hear that.
I'm here.
So yeah, so Mark, if you want to talk about this is a classic Mark Sellers madness idea, but it's turned out to be pretty awesome. He said, look, it's a pandemic and everybody loves pizza, so what the hell? So we have in the basement of Max's, there is a virtual kitchen producing pizza for delivery and pickup only. So you actually, when you go to Max's, you can't actually get it. I should totally be letting Mark do the sales pitch on this, but it is pretty cool. Since Mark sent our chef to Chicago for a special 3-week certification class on how to properly make real deep dish, and I mean, I don't know, take a look at the pictures on Loretta's Deep Dish. I think the proof is in the pudding. They're really good looking pizzas. I haven't had the pleasure of tasting one yet, but they look outstanding. So anyway, you can kind of walk into Max's and you can have this wonderful tropical experience, and you might just see somebody carrying a pizza box out, but otherwise,
it's the perfect thing to bring home with you after you've had a few Mai Tais, and you're going to get the munchies later. You take a pizza to go.
Yeah, we allow people to order it to go only, and we get a lot of people that do that. But we don't want people eating the pizza in the restaurant, because then everyone's going to want to just eat pizza at Max's, and we don't want. That's a separate business, you know.
Well, and your Max's menu looks amazing.
There
it is.
Okay, that's beautiful. That looks like Chicago deep dish.
Yeah.
There's like 40 pounds of mozzarella on each one.
There's a question in the chat that's asked if you can order mugs and pizza from the website for delivery to Florida.
Mugs.
Rick said he's getting down to boat drinks. How many pizzas can you bring?
Yeah, Rick, stuff them in your bag. A little dry ice to be good.
But well, you know, it's a wonderful. It's one of those things where during COVID, you know, folks really were looking for a lot of comfort food and familiar things, and you know, there's a reason why things like pizza and Chinese have been delivery staples for decades, because they travel well. And they you know, this is, you know, when you try to do a lot of Max's food is really fairly elegant and well prepared and presented, and doesn't necessarily travel as well as a great pizza does. So it's a natural brand extension. I mean, it's not really a brand extension, it's its own brand. My favorite, when I said Mark came up with this, and I said, Mark, I'm talking a little out of turn, but it'll be kind of funny. He said, see, I've had too much. I said, so who's Loretta? That's really cool. Who's Loretta? And he goes, he says, I had this crazy Aunt Loretta. She lived in Chicago. She was this kind of eccentric broad. She wore a, big flowing kaftan. She smoked like a chimney, and, she chain smoked, but she made these amazing deep dish pizzas. She always told these crazy stories and really dirty jokes. And I said, oh, that's great. Wow, funny. He said, that's completely made up. There's no Loretta. And I said, that's awesome. That's even better.
But that's how I picture her.
That's
this fictional character that
you don't want to let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's great brand building right there. It's all about having a little bit of backstory and a little character and everything else. I mean, there's this guy Max, who's our silent partner in Max's South Seas, who
that's you.
Silent partner.
Right. He's never around. He travels the South Seas. He roams the earth. So anytime you come into the bar and you ask for Max, he's traveling somewhere.
He just left.
Here's the crazy thing about the Florida Rum Society and this Zoom. You don't get a chance to monitor all this all the time, but I just looked at my phone, and Richard Nicholson, who's a rum friend from New Zealand, is online watching this right now. Just saw me a screen capture. So we've reached all the way to New Zealand. Kind of cool, Jay.
We're really just an international organization based in Florida.
Tentacles run deep.
We bring rum people together. That's our goal, is to bring the rum lovers of the world together to enjoy great rum.
That's awesome.
We're happy to keep going, but before it got too late, I just wanted to say it was wonderful to have you guys with us tonight. I've been listening to your Zooms for a long time. Often I'm sitting at that main bar with this earbud in my hand, just kind of like buried in my phone, listening to it and watching it. I love you guys to death. I look forward to spending some time with you. And I was so happy that you could join us tonight and talk with Martin and Gecko and Mark and have a drink with us. We love you guys. And someday when the world isn't any from COVID, I'm looking forward to having a drink with you guys here at the Boat Bar.
I will echo that same thing back to you. This has been a phenomenal experience, and I think I can speak for all 50 people that were on that we really, and that this was way different than anything we've done, and it's been phenomenal. So to hear the story of Max's, I'm sorry that we missed Max. I'm sure
he just left right before it started.
but I think I could see in the chat, and some people have actually texted me like, hey, can we make this happen? Can we drive up to or fly up or whatever we need to do to get up there? Because it really is a beautiful setup.
We have had the Kansas City Tiki Freaks. What do they go by? Mocan Tiki.
Okay.
Come up, and we've had Chicago people, a group, Detroit Tiki people. So we love hosting groups from out of town. We treat them like they're VIP gold members,
You'll fly.
Plus, you guys have an advanced team member up here.
Jay, I think it's funny, Jay. The night you turned the meeting over to me, and you left the meeting because you had to take care of the kids. We did a virtual tour.
I walked you guys through it.
We got a live tour. I'm telling you, it was awesome.
Jay messaged me the next day, and he said, I can't believe I missed that. I put the kids away, and you give us a tour?
The bad thing was you turned the meeting over to me.
That was a mistake. That's always a mistake.
I do have a question for Martin. So rum is evolving. I mean, I see it moving forward, and I love what I see going on in rum. I mean, rum it's just, people say Wild Wild West, but there's so many really good things coming out right now in rum. Anyway, I just kind of want to get your perspective on the trends and where you see it going. I mean, a lot of these rum distillers and producers and blenders are coming out with quote unquote premier or premium, spirits and blah, blah, blah. A lot of it, some of it's marketing, obviously, but there's also some really good stuff coming out. I just like to hear your insights on, because I know you follow it very closely.
Rick, is my mic on?
Yes, your mic's on, Mark.
I got it. Hang on a second. I got it.
John, were you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think this is a amazing time to be a rum lover. This is the honest to God, probably the best time to be a rum lover that there's ever been. I mean, I say that having spent a lot of time on historical research and brand availability in the United States. And there is more variety, more brand availability, more diversity now than we have seen, I think, ever. You have to remember, rum is the spirit of the United States from inception, but then quickly abandoned. By the end of the 18th century, it was gone, and it didn't really come back into favor until into the 20th century, and even then barely. And now it's really blowing up. So we get this wonderful combination of great historic distilleries who've been around forever finally getting product into the United States, which is huge, and that's wonderful. Plus, we've got this great craft spirits movement. There's over 500 craft rums made in the United States, and at least 7 of them are good. And I'm being a little facetious, but no, it's overall, it's wonderful. So what we're seeing is a combination of broader selection, greater historic producers coming into the country, and more transparency in labeling, because I'll try to keep this very short, but the idea is, let's say you're single malt Scotch and you're being produced in one half of one island in the North Atlantic. That's it. So when the United States imports single malt Scotch, they say, what are the requirements for single malt Scotch? And the Scotch Malt Whiskey Association says they are this. And the United States simply adopts them, extends it to the labeling requirements and everything else. But rum is made in 115 countries. Rum's made in every continent on Earth except Antarctica. So there's no way for the United States to pass a single regulatory framework that covers all of the variations in rum globally. So the United States import framework is basically, it has to be 40% alcohol by volume, has to have the organoleptic characteristics associated with rum, and that's kind of it. So there are there's some age statement stuff too, but there's very, very few things because they're trying to encompass a broad world. So the onus ends up falling onto the rum producer to tell us the truth about what the product is, to tell us what's happening with this bottle. And yes, some bottles, as you say, are definitely marketing and hype. Some bottles are wonderfully transparent and are telling us all about the product. I mean, obviously, you guys have worked with Ed. You have your own product with Ed. You know that if you go and you scan the barcode or whatever it is, I think he puts a QR on the back now. It'll take you to his website, and he'll break down every single thing he does. He'll tell you a very complete, transparent story about where he sources it, how he bottles it, and everything. So this is a really good time to be a rum customer, a really good time. And you are experiencing so much the idea that we are now talking about things like rum marks on labels and things is such a deep cut. It's so impossibly deep. You never would have seen this even a decade ago. And that's just fantastic. So I don't remember your question, but the answer is it's a good time.
Well, I think what I'm seeing, though, which is really interesting, there's a renaissance now in the American rum scene. You know, it's like it's a rebirth. You know, we like you said, in the 18th century, rum was king here early on, but then it disappeared. Whiskey, blah blah blah. Okay, so what's happening now? What I'm finding with American rum producers, they're very young. They don't have the backstock. They don't have the old pedigree that you do with some of the old distilleries out of the Caribbean. So they don't really have the stocks and the blending abilities that these older, more practiced distillers and brands do. I think we'll get there, but it's going to be probably maybe not even in my lifetime that we will see them get to where these others have been for years.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the interesting things about American craft distilling is that the brief nutshell business model is that almost everybody got into American craft distilling to make whiskey. And the problem with whiskey is, of course, that it's lovely and great and you can distill it, but then you have to lay it down in barrels, and you've got probably 4 years ahead of you, and you're trying to think about what you can do to make money in the interim, because you've spent a hell of a lot of money on distilling equipment and on your space and everything else. So that's why they make gin and vodka and unaged rum and whatever else they can think of to try to create some revenue, basically while the whiskey's aging. We're in an era of maturity now in American craft distilling, at least initial era of maturity, where the whiskeys have come to fruition. They're doing well. There's great whiskeys out there. But the rum thing is, I find the distilleries that spend the time, the distilleries who are focused on rum first and not as an afterthought, in almost every case make a better rum. And that's because they're the ones who started off saying, this is going to be our specialty. And whether or not you're Montagna or Privateer or Richland or Kohana or whatever, you're saying from the start, you're saying this is what we want to do. And this is how we're going to do it right. And we're not going to worry about, maybe instead of making rum as an afterthought, we'll make gin as an afterthought or as a fun side project or something like that, which is in the case of Privateer, gin's a fun side project, but not their thing. So that on almost every case, it's so funny. You can almost split it right down the middle to say, these are the ones who care about rum and put it up in front make better rum. And that's just, I just spent the last 4, in fact, I have it right here. I've been judging rums on a kind of a remote competition right now. I just did San Francisco World Spirits, and I just did a new competition that this one is. And a lot of it's American craft rum. And I've been doing American craft rum judging for over a decade now with ACSA and ADI. And every year it's better, always better and better and better. There were many times when for the first several years, they were just garbage. I mean, just terrible, terrible spirits, but everything is getting better. Also, just simply by virtue of things spending more time in a barrel. Things come back to competition the next year, and they've had another opportunity to spend another summer in a barrel, to use an old whiskey expression, and they just get better. So yeah, I mean, some of the brands being called out here, terrific stuff. I don't know that you can necessarily define American style rum. I mean, people are making pot still rum with molasses. If you are near cane, if you're in Florida or Louisiana or Hawaii and you're making a fresh cane juice style rum, that just speaks to where you are. It speaks to your regional specialty. If there's rum makers in Michigan, and there's no cane growing in Michigan, needless to say. So the molasses is coming from elsewhere, or the evaporated cane syrup, or whatever their raw material is. So there's great stuff. I mean, this is a good time. There are good rum distilleries in Florida too, happening. And so it's I think nationwide, there's some positive stuff. So
I think we all agree that there's some great rum available out there, but actually getting your hands on it is a whole nother thing. How do you see that evolving, in the next 5-10 years? Do you see that opening up across different states?
Sure. I mean, the trickiest part has always been that this country operates as though it's 50 countries when it comes to alcohol distribution. And that's what makes it so hard. When you come in, especially if you come in as an import, if you're coming in as a new rum from out of the United States, it's like trying to import to 50 countries at the same time. It's really, really hard, very expensive, and very time consuming. So for that reason, a lot of import rums only come into 4 states. And then of course we don't have cross-border spirit shipping right now inside the United States, which is bonkers. I mean, I can't believe we're not considered, like the EU. We're not a single market in the United States where we can't ship alcohol freely. Well, we can ship wine, but freely shipping spirits between states is ridiculous that we can't do that. So I'm hoping that we'll start to see more of that. This last wave of TTB regulation easing was a big step forward. We got access to, we legally approved 700 milliliter bottles. That's a big deal for us, which means more and more independent bottlers in Europe will be able to send us product without worrying about trying to rebottle into 750, which is onerous and expensive, and new labels and everything else for this much more in the bottle. It's good stuff coming down the pike. I mean, I think if you guys have had a chance to try Holmes Key rum, Eric jumped on top of this opportunity that he saw missing in the United States to do more.
They did a tasting with him 2 weeks ago.
We just had Eric on 2 weeks ago. He was
that's great.
We did some tasting.
Yep.
That's terrific. He realized that there was a huge gap, and he jumped on it smartly to say, why aren't there more independent bottlers in the United States bringing in great stuff, doing it no additive, cast strength, etc. So this is happening. I mean, this is there's good things afoot. And you guys have Total Wines in Florida, so you have access to the bulk of Mr. Seal's output through Total Wine, so you can get your Dourleys and everything else down there, which is great. So, and that stuff is outrageously well priced. It's so good and so inexpensive, and so there's it's a good time. It's a good time to be drinking rum.
And some of us are rum runners. I'll keep quiet on that, but yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
well, I can see Chris and Diana have a bottle of something Cuban on their back shelf right now. So of course, I mean, we've all brought suitcases home of sunshine and magic.
We benefit from the fact that our other, this is one of our sons. Our other son is dating a girl whose parents are both over on boats from Cuba.
Nice.
And she likes to impress us. And so she brings a bottle of something nice every time she visits.
Works for me.
Very good. It's true. I remember I went to Martinique about 15 years ago for the first time. And I just dumpster dove behind a store in Martinique and got I found a box, and I bought some tape, and I just packed up about 16 bottles of rum, and I just checked it in as luggage. And I remember coming through customs, and I've done this so many times now, and every single time customs officers say, you know, do you have anything to declare? And I just declare it straight up. I just say, what do you have? I have 16 bottles of rum. And they go, whoa, that seems like a lot. And I say, well, you know, it's a personal collection. And they say, all right, well, whatever. They don't care. I mean, they never care. The whole idea of, if they actually cared, they would make you, you know, pay duty, right?
Pay it too.
They'd send you over to the customs officer area. And in this case, they did. Now, before you get freaked out, right? Duty is like $2 a bottle.
It's right. It's not a lot. It's not a lot at all.
No.
You get that kind of warning. You can only bring 2 liters back, right? That's duty free. Beyond that, you can bring what you want back. You just pay duty, but it's like $2 a bottle. So this guy said, well, I don't know. I got to send you over to customs. You got 16 bottles. You're going to pay duty. I said, that's fine. And he sent me over there, and the customs officer looked at this box and he said, what's in here? I said, 16 bottles of rum from Martinique. And he said, okay, it's all from Martinique? I said, yeah, because he just wanted to know if it was Cuban. I said, no, it's all from Martinique. And he said, should I take a look at it? And I said, well, you could, but I packed it all with my socks, my dirty socks and underwear. So you can decide whether or not you want to open it. And he said, you're free to go. So it was great. So it looks like Rick and Mark have left. So maybe I should leave too.
They're drinking, I guess.
So Mark went downstairs for some reason. I think he was going to have one off and then head home. I'm still here though.
Get another beer. We'll just listen for the mic.
I muted. It was wonderful. Jay and I were texting. He's like, I never want this to end.
Well, I probably should as well. So, but it's been great talking with everybody. I hope you all get a chance to come to Grand Rapids. It's a really special place. I think it's one of the new last of the great full-scale places. I don't know how many more will ever happen like this, because it's not easy, and it's on the scale like this, and obviously with Mark's collection, it's a really special place to see on this kind of scale, so you can really enjoy the art. But plan for an extra day. Somebody already asked about the hotel rooms, and I have to tell you, I'm very sorry, but there's no, our original plan to open a boutique hotel at the top of Max's is definitely indefinitely postponed. Nothing ever happened. And our financial situation in terms of, you know, opening up and then falling immediately into a pandemic has really put the kibosh on that. So needless to say, there's lots of hotels within 3 blocks of Max's everywhere. Grand Rapids is packed with hotels. Every single variation of anything Marriott owns is within 3 blocks of Max's. So it's super easy to find a great place within stumbling distance. So no worries there.
I was just about to use that line and say there are several in stumbling distance. Hey, Martin, it's good to see you, brother. Please give my best to Rebecca and Puka, would you?
I sure will, Rick. Thanks so much. Great to see everyone. Thank you all.
Thank you, Martin,
Yes.
for joining.
Hey,
We
nice to
really
see you,
appreciate
Martin.
it.
Nice to see
Great
you,
to see
buddy.
you guys. Take care.
Bye. Have a good night.
Hey.
Awesome. Well, I mean, Rick, thank you so much. Obviously, you and Mark, phenomenal job setting this all up. This has been extremely fantastic virtual happy hour. We thank you for all the little tchotchkes, the special limited edition 50, only 50 in the world short stir that people are going to sell on eBay. And there's people are texting me, people are in the chat. They're all like, when are we figuring out how to go to Grand Rapids? So, you know, maybe when we see each other in person in May, we can figure out what that might look like. But I think that would be a fun little adventure for a group of us to put together. So
In the meantime, we want a FRS mug.
Well, yeah, I already texted Rick about that too.
We'll be working on that. I just wanted to say, hey, I love you guys. Stay safe. Love joining you every week for the Zoom, and looking forward to that day when we all get together. Yeah,
perfect.
Both in Florida and up here.
We'll see you soon, Rick. Excited that you're coming down.
Thank you, sir. Rick. Thank you, Rick.